Meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A motion to approve today's agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Approved. Okay. And I'd like to get the approval for the minutes of the regular meeting from July 15, 2023.
Motion moved.
Any abstentions? 3 abstentions. Motion to approve of the special meeting on August 1st, 2023.
So moved.
Second. Abstentions? 3 abstentions. Motion to approve the organizational meeting, approval of the minutes for September 9th, 2023.
So moved.
All approved. Next, I'd like to have the announcement of our email votes and motion by John Latham regarding the increase of general manager's spending authority.
A vote by email was conducted by the board on September 20th, 2023 to increase the GM spending limit from $15,000 to $25,000. It was passed unanimously by all 7 directors.
Thank you, John. President's remarks. First, I'd like to thank Ocean Pines membership for their support and the support they have given to the board of voting for 3 new outstanding directors with integrity and respect for the position each of them now holds. Each director that serves on this board will serve one interest, and that one interest is the best interest of the Ocean Pines community. There's lots to do in this upcoming year, to include the South Side firehouse replacement, which we all agree safety of our community is paramount. The golf course irrigation replacement and continued road improvement, mailbox replacement, and improve the beautification is just to name a few. We have a highly regarded police chief who is now with us now, Tim Robinson, who will lead our police department, and a new aquatics manager in Michelle Hitchens, who will lead our aquatics department. Matt Orton and his staff have continued to provide outstanding food and beverage service to our yacht club, our clubhouse, and our beach club, and have unwavering support from this board. He and his staff have made our Ocean Pines Yacht Club the best wedding venue in the Ocean City area. I'd like to thank Doug Parks, who has served as president, for steering the ship in the right direction when Ocean Pines was faced with adversity last year. It did not waver. I'd also like to thank our general manager, John Viola, who continues to be outstanding in leading Ocean Pines from an operational and financial perspective. Thank you to his team for support they have given to the board and continues to give to the board this year with our IT, their PR, and administration. So with that, let's roll. So first up, I'm going to go ahead and suspend Robert's rules. I'm going to have an Ocean Pines Day presentation by Gary and Linda.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
The idea for the Ocean Pines Day came about at a aquatics committee meeting last September. M. Hinch suggested that an event to promote aquatics memberships by introducing residents to the various programs, facilities, and memberships available, including multiple types of classes, and to answer questions. The idea, again, to bring more information to the residents about aquatics. That idea morphed into a bigger event that would include all of the amenities and highlight all that Ocean Pines has to offer. We want to reinforce the fact that Ocean Pines is a great place to live. An ad hoc committee called the OP Day Working Group was formed and includes representatives from most of the committees. Doug Parks was our liaison, and we met with our GM, John Viola, and received input from him and Rec and Parks, Debbie Donahue. The goal of this presentation is to get the board's approval to continue the detailed planning that's necessary and to give the GM the opportunity to include the potential cost in the upcoming budget. If approved to move forward, we will need a new liaison. I'm going to turn this over to Linda Yershi from the Communications Committee for the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Linda Yershi, as Gary said. My husband Mike and I have lived full-time in the Pines for almost 3 years now. So we're fairly new residents, and that's part of what informs my enthusiasm about this event. So I hope you'll hear it that way. We have this originally, as Gary said, was called the Ocean Pines Day. We were calling it. We eventually pivoted slightly to call it Ocean Pines Season Kickoff. We're thinking that if it happens in the spring, right when we're trying to get people excited about buying memberships, a new year is starting, it's when the whole world is waking up around here, it's a good time to do it. So it became the Ocean Pines Season Kickoff. Linda, if you move to we're talking about springing into fun in the Pines. We're suggesting that this be on a Saturday next spring. It would be, it could be after the, 1st of May. So it would be in the next budget, hopefully. We discussed at length the right venue for it and the right date, the right timing. And what we came up with was on a Saturday afternoon after the farmers market vendors clear out at White Horse Park. There's plenty of room for parking, rain shelter if there's bad weather, etc. I want to give you a little more detail about this, but if you note here, I've highlighted displays and demonstrations from amenities, clubs, and community groups. And that's a huge part of this. Although Gary mentioned this came from the idea of expanding amenity memberships, what I, as a new resident, have found, we arrived during COVID. And so I didn't know there were all these clubs. I didn't know there were all these organizations. There is something for everyone. When our committee started looking at who might be interested in presenting or being part of this, there were over 50 organizations that we ended up contacting to say, it's everything from the Cat Connection of Delmarva to, the Republican Women's Club. There's so much to do in Ocean Pines. And as a relatively new resident, I had no idea. So this is partly to showcase all those wonderful things to do. So there's the summary of what we think it will be. And as Gary said, you can go to the next slide, please. As Gary said, and as I mentioned, this is to showcase everything there is to enjoy about living in Ocean Pines, not just for full and part-time residents, but for their guests and potential future homeowners. We think that there's a lot to show off for people who might like to live here eventually as well. Next slide, please. Here are the objectives: showcase the amenities, activities, clubs, dining, generate income through new membership signups, and reinforce our value as a community with something for everyone. As I said, more than 50 organizations expressed interest in having a table at this and letting people know about the work they do and encouraging people to join. So there's much to do here. Next slide, please. Here are our identified target markets, of course, full and part-time residents, realtors and potential home buyers, families, working adults, and folks like us who are fortunate to be retired here. Next slide, please. The event benefits, we sort of covered this, but what I wanted to emphasize in here is we feel like we can increase revenue, not just by getting more people to sign up for amenities, which we really think there's a lot of opportunity around that, but we think there's sponsorship opportunities, and we think there's opportunities for businesses and other people who may be interested in investing in Ocean Pines. Next slide, please. Our preliminary group has been meeting for a few months. We did get the go-ahead, as Gary mentioned, from Doug to kind of keep exploring this, to reach out to these organizations, to put together a sort of rough budget. And Gary met with John and key OPA staff. Debbie Donahue came to our meeting. And so we really got an idea of what it takes to put on a great event in Ocean Pines. The people in the ad hoc committee include people like myself. I'm a member of the Communications Advisory Committee who are pretty new, but also people who were involved in putting on the 50th anniversary event and other huge events for Ocean Pines. So we feel that there's a good mix of sort of new, enthusiastic residents, but also people who know what it takes to get this done right. Next slide, please. And you can go right into the next one. So here's the, after much discussion, we figured the best time would be on a Saturday. We get part-time visitors, full-time residents on a Saturday afternoon in spring, right at peak sign up for aquatics and other amenities time. And we figured 3 to 7 because we landed on Whitehorse Park as a good spot and we want to give the farmer's market time to clear out. Also, we figured, it's after lunch, but it's before everybody wants to go party at the yacht club. So we figured that was kind of good timing for things. Next slide, please. As I said, the location, we talked about a lot of different possibilities for the location, including the Veterans Memorial area, the yacht club, but we selected Whitehorse Park because there was enough space to accommodate what we anticipate would be 1,000 to 1,500 attendees. There's weather backup, there's restrooms, there's parking. So we figured that would be the best spot that we'd recommend. Next slide, please. We're thinking that we will solicit food trucks to be there and people who want to come and have, a snowball from the snowball stand or a beer or whatever could come to these. But we also might, invite area restaurants, not just the yacht club, but other restaurants that are serving the Pines. Maybe they want to have a sampling table or sampling booth, or maybe they want to have a cook-off or competition. So we thought we could do food and drink by making it a paid but very appealing option for people. Next slide, please. We thought we would have entertainment at the event by inviting maybe Full Circle or DJ, or we might say maybe the Pines players would like to perform, or the Pine Tones or other groups, make it more of a showcase for them. So there's opportunities for entertainment as well. Next slide, please. But the most important part of this is it's interactive. People wouldn't just come and pick up something at a booth. We don't want people to just come and get a flyer and that's it. We want it to be interactive. So there might be a Zumba class, or there might be a pickleball demo, or there might be a cook-off with sampling or competition, who makes the best chili dogs in Ocean Pines or something. We also were thinking that amenities would be able to collect attendee emails so that they could market directly to them going forward. So we have an idea about how to get the most, people to visit the most booths and enter their email to get entered to win a prize. Also, and ask the department booth. So maybe you've always wanted to say to CPI, why is it that I can't have this or that? Or, hey, talk to Public Works, how does it work with the ditches? Am I supposed to dig or not? Maybe you'd just like to talk to somebody, a real face in person. We could have a booth where you could ask Ocean Pines staff a question if you had a question that's just been on your mind. Next one, please. This is where we'd like to showcase all of the Ocean Pines amenities, but also all those 50 organizations and clubs I talked about, different departments who were interested that made sense, Public Works or another department that might want to actually be hands-on, face-to-face with the public. The Chamber of Commerce could be part of this. It would be an opportunity for a lot of people to showcase what they do for Ocean Pines. Next slide, please. And we talked about all the great ways Ocean Pines already does marketing through emails, publications, social media, but we think we can amplify that as well with the members of our committee. And we would pitch to all of these organizations. You have 50 organizations participating or having a table, they're going to talk to their members. It becomes sort of like a ripple effect of getting a lot more people excited about coming to Ocean Pines for this event. We put in our budget some advertising in local publications. We would also seek PR placements, of course. But we also would seek some sponsorships from some media and some other organizations. I have a background in sponsorship development and marketing, and I think there's a huge amount of sponsorship potential here for people who might like to sponsor the entertainment or sponsor the cook-off or sponsor the Zumba demonstrations. So I think there's opportunity there for sponsorships. Next slide, please. I know I've sort of rushed through all of this, and I appreciate your patience while I did that. There's plenty of more detail under this, where we have a detailed plan, which I believe has been supplied to you, and John has certainly reviewed a more detailed plan of this. But what we're asking for at this point is your blessing to go ahead and continue to explore this, to develop a more solid budget, to develop a date, a plan, and really put together what it would take to put this event on. So we ask for your support as we continue to do this. This is all volunteers who are enthusiastic about it. And one last fact of which I want to throw out to you. A realtor member of our group told us there about, out of the 8,500 homes in Ocean Pines, about 500 turnover each year. There are many new people like new people like me, who arrived, many of us during COVID or during other times when we haven't had a chance to come together as a community. This is a great opportunity to sort of build community with all of these new folks, as well as folks who have been here a long time and maybe forgot how wonderful it can be and how got a little jaded. That's my pitch. One more slide. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you listening.
I have a couple of questions. Gary or Linda? Yeah, just a couple notes that I took during your presentation. Some cost analysis for putting this on, insurance obligations if we have any kind of alcohol served, what are our responsibilities there because it's on our property? What would be like a cost per table? I know you're still developing this. And, you know, from 3 to 7, I don't want to be in any competition with the yacht club for entertainment and then food stuff. So these are some questions that I have. I don't know how to ask it, but those are cost analysis, insurance analysis, and potential revenue analysis. That's what I would ask you for.
Would you like to speak to that or?
As far as the finances are concerned, we had some very basic ideas. John helped us a lot with coming up with what we might need to include. That's still not solidified.
I know this is all concept stuff, but just ballpark things.
Yeah.
Right, so John could probably address that even better than we could.
Okay.
The thing that we were looking at is, with the 4th of July extravaganza that we had, White Horse Park, looking back at those type of numbers and what the finances were for that would give us a good clue as to what more exacting figures would be for this event.
We did come up with an estimate that we think we can cover a good bit of it with sponsorships and other kinds of income, and increased amenity sales. But we think, you know, there is a rough number that we got from comparing other events that have happened in the Pines of this scale. And we think potentially there's a budget of about 15,000 is what we put in our preliminary. But as to the insurance issue and, trying to remember, the yacht club issue, the insurance, again, we spoke with, we had Debbie come in and talk to us about how other events have handled having a beer truck or other things like that. And apparently there's a standard process that we go through to indemnify the association. In terms of the yacht club, that was part of our specific thinking about the timing, is if we do it in the afternoon instead of later in the evening, it's a great time. People come, have fun with their kids. Okay, great. Your kids go do their thing. Now you come to the yacht club. We thought perhaps the yacht club would like to offer people at this event a coupon to come for happy hour after, or to come for entertainment after. We really think it actually sort of feeds into an evening at the yacht club. So that was part of our thinking on the afternoon timing. Was there another question?
The only thing that, and well, the concept is very nice, great presentation, so thank you both for that. Is just to make sure when we're putting this all together, we're looking from a legal perspective, as Stuart mentioned, but also what other departments would be affected, police, as far as, you know, control, crowd control, that type of stuff, you know, safety. Are we going to need, other than the restrooms we have there, we're going to need more than that? You mentioned about 1,000 to 1,500 people of expectancy there. You know, parking. You know, these are some of the things that I'm kind of thinking about on a high level that we need to have in consideration. As far as from my perspective, you know, I'm fine with moving forward with a concept, and so we can get more information, more solid information on the financial aspect, and also how it's going to affect the association in general, with other departments, and how it would affect them, whether it's a positive or negative effect. I think it's important that we address those two. And of course, you know, getting those resources and getting with our general manager to see, you know, how that will, you know, affect, you know, manpower for that. So
I'd get behind this.
yeah. So
Conceptually.
yeah, is everybody, directors, are you good moving forward with? Go ahead, Steve.
Just my understanding was you need a liaison.
We do need a new
Yes.
liaison. 'Cause
So
Doug-
Yes,
my
'cause
my
Doug-
question to you, Rick, would be, we want to do that now, or you want to do it at some other point?
We can do it at some other point. Unless,
I sort of got the
Yeah.
impression that was the ask that we were
Well,
getting.
yeah,
That was one of them, definitely. The first, of course, was we need permission to keep working on this.
yeah,
And the second one was, in order to talk to members of the facilities, we need a liaison that can go from us to
yes,
John to whoever else.
yes. We'll get that, as far as the liaison piece, because that's a very, very important piece for
Okay.
that, making sure, you funnel all that information directly to the liaison, to the operational side. Very important to maintain that controls. So we'll address that as a board as far as getting a liaison, for that. But as far as for the concept to move forward, I believe we're all in favor for that.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay,
like it.
thank you very much for that. And we
Sure.
will get back to you after we've gotten more details together, to give you the opportunity to say yes or no once
Okay.
all the numbers are there and the whole plan is together, and you can say yes or no. That.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you very much.
both of you for that. Thank you. Go ahead and reinstate Robert's rules. John, do you have a report?
Okay, thank you, Rick. All right, we'll start off with the first slide. Haven't seen many different features. We're going to try to get them up there, spread them around. Three really beautiful pictures up there. I appreciate individuals that send them in. It truly shows, exhibits the special place that I've been talking about and that we all know we have. Turn the page. Okay, we'll start off with the initiatives. This is how we always start. Today, I will talk about major initiatives next several years. There are sketches, designs. I brought them in to other board meetings. They will be here again, specifically the firehouse. You heard Rick talk about that a little bit. The irrigation, the racket sports as far as restrooms and a pro shop. So I am putting that out there for everybody to see. If anybody has any questions, these are all designs by friends. Coming to the point now where they are something that will be addressed in the next budget process. All right, I'll talk a little bit more. As far as the firehouse, which is the big one, and we're all about safety, the work group, but I'll talk more about that, will be in October. Okay. In addition to that, there might be some other concepts that we're always looking at. Just put them out there. All right, let's start off with first slide, aquatics. We have our new aquatics lead there, Michelle Hitchens. She does report into Linda Martin. This is a classic, what I've been talking about for years since I came in here, where we're cross-training the staff. We have succession planning. Next person up, we had an opening there. This is a great opportunity for Michelle and for Linda and the rest of the team. I'm already seeing some good results from that. They clearly are hitting the ground running. We are looking at, and Michelle has talked to me about how she can expand on swim lessons, exercise classes, all good stuff. So I believe we're prepared, and we will be definitely ready for next season's. Turn the page. Beach parking, and I love beach parking. So a couple of pictures there, and I just wanted to update. We wanted to update everybody on October. We get a lot of questions on this. So beach parking is available until the end of October. The portable toilets are there. You can see pictures, so you know where they are. And we'll be operating to the end of October when the beach club is winterized. With the sprinklers for your outside. We do get a lot of questions on info@oceanpines.org. Turn the page. Finance IT, always like to see this. This is efficiencies. Certainly with the North Star system, I'm always proud to come forward what the team is doing with that, and certainly what the board did 5-6 years ago, giving us the opportunity to implement this. So, and Keith is here today. One of the big ones, and this is what I like seeing, is the Easy Link, which is a separate system, separate software, and we discussed that at length to keep that 5 years ago. The biggest thing was integration into the system. We have agreement from North Star. They are working on it with us, and we're hoping to have it. Keith, just give me a nod, somewhere around November, December. So we're kind of on track. This is a big win for Ocean Pines, and certainly for, if I can say, for North Star. We also, the memberships online, we constantly work on that. Need North Star support to help OPA customize based on membership types. So we have seen progress there, and I hope to see more there. That keeps giving me the nod. That's great news. Turn the page. Fire department. So I talked a little bit about it. There is a sketch there prepared. by Frank Brown. You've heard that name many times. It's the same game plan from my end with the team. I did put together a work group, which will recommend to the board to move forward on replacement of the building. You'll hear more about this in October. There'll be a presentation. I'll have Ted Maroney here. I'll have the representatives from the fire department. And we will do a presentation on it as far as our recommendations to the board. That sketch, that is the front that pretty much shows where we're at. It's a little different than what you saw at the town hall, as well as the price. As far as the general manager, from my standpoint, and I have vetted this with everybody, and Steve and I are crunching on this probably each week, but I will come forward to the board with 3 options on funding for the building with a recommendation to the board on which one that I believe we should take. I take this stuff serious. We've done a lot of work on this. We are in the budget process. I'll talk a little more on this in a couple of slides. This is a part of it. All these initiatives, this has all been planned for. This is what we've been working for over the last 3 or 4 years, and how we've positioned our balance sheet. But like I mentioned, and also the referendum, I know Josh is working on that, the wording for that for the board, and any MOUs or proposed contracts. Ted's working on that with Pete, along with the volunteer fire department representatives. I know they're reviewing it now. We also want to eventually come forward with that to the board and the association. Okay, turn the page. That's a big one. Oh, can you just go back on that just quick? So when you look at that slide, you look in the middle, you have the 3 bays. That's the 3 original, or the bays you see if you drive by the Southgate Fire Department now. To my right, to the right there, are 2 optional bays that the volunteer fire department came forward and said that would be a wish list. That is something they would like to have. Based upon the design and the estimates we're getting, the way we factored this, it is possible, we believe, that they'll be coming forward with those bays in there, or at least one, with the pricing. If you look to the left, that's what's going to be knocked down. That's definitely going to be knocked down. If you look over there, there's detailed footprint of the inside. We're hoping to keep the 3 bays, the walls for that. We believe there's a sizable savings on that. We'll factor it in. The board gave me the go-ahead to reach out to a firm to test those walls, and that'll be happening shortly in conjunction with Ocean Pines Volunteer Fire Department. Thank you. Turn the page. Okay, so golf, and just wanted a little highlight golf here. Golf is the engine, is the economic engine that is generating favorability for us, along with everything else pretty much. But, you know, we did have situations here. Look, it's no secret. We do have some nice ponds here. We have a beautiful golf course, but it's a golf course. The ponds, and you can see there, and compliments to Nobi and Eddie, they refurbished some buoys we had that we had taken out of the channels, and we were going to probably throw them away. You know, a lot of work, extensive working on it, and this is what our golf pro wanted, something right in the middle of the pond that says no fishing. I am taking this opportunity to please ask everybody, and I know we all own Ocean Pines or whatever. The golf course is for golf. It is very, and not that I don't want people fishing there. It's not safe. I mean, the golf balls is like a bullet going by, and that is the major concern. We're very concerned for safety. So please, from a safety standpoint, please adhere to. Okay, and then there's also the 9-hole 4-person scramble. Just want to throw that in, that Pink Lady tournament. Anytime we have something like that, I like to just get that out there. So please sign up if you haven't already. Don't play. Page. Okay, so maintenance. Over the 5 years, we've certainly increased this, and I know this board is also dedicated to this. What we're doing right now is I have a team out there. We've been reviewing all the restrooms throughout Ocean Pines. We have worked on some of them in the past, but we have teams out there right now painting, refurbishing, doing whatever we can to get the restrooms all up to speed where I'd like to see it, and I'm sure everybody else. So we are working on that, especially now in the season when we're closed. Front page. Parks and Rec, but this is a nice one. And again, this is the same drill as the docks, where we used a certain company. There's 2 different companies that we work with the aluminum docks, and now we're doing it for these piers. So we have put in the recreational crabbing pier, was installed September 12th, kayak launch. You can see that bottom right, pretty neat. To be honest with you, I'm going to go out and buy a kayak myself. There will be racks there, so I'm sure everybody reach out to Debbie Donahue, and get yourself a rack spot before they're gone. really is a nice setup there. So there it is, as committed to, as supported by our board and delivered by the team. On the page. Good one. Okay, so you've heard me talk about, you'll continue to hear me talk about labor shortages, especially the labor for public works. We have pretty much covered that with outside work, bringing in outside companies, which we continue to do. And we've been successful with it, especially along the lines of drainage, ditches, painting. But here's a piece of equipment we went forward to. We asked the board approved, where it'll certainly help with efficiencies and definitely help us the fact that we've been shorthanded, where one or two individuals can make up a lot of work that probably took several. So those are the efficiencies there. I'm happy about it. Turn the page. Back in sports, talk a little bit about that. Show something we have been dedicated to improving that racket center since 2019. We have had a program every year for maintenance, replacement, sizable maintenance and replacement. We have allocated support down there where you see a full-time person doing maintenance. So just to highlight some of the stuff we just did recently, we try to spread it out among the 3 racket sports down there. Of course, anytime we do something for one, the other one's one. But again, a lot being done. You can see top right there, what I call the stage structure. We had one over near tennis. I committed to it back in 2020. We finally got the manpower and the people on board during the winter, and we implemented this summer. There was a lot of concrete there in the patio, and you can see we also did landscaping all around it. I think that's a big one for pickleball. The bottom right for paddle tennis. A patio that actually came out way better than I even thought. Compliments to the company that did it. I know they're happy there. I'm hoping to get some type of shade structure. But for now, we bought those umbrellas, and they give a lot of shade. But we are looking at that. So there's the prices. That's what we've done recently. But I have to say, we went back. Michelle helped me. Okay, so this one, the reason I put that in here is I do want to recognize the Rec and Parks Advisory Committee. I had read their minutes or whatever. I saw that. I picked up the phone. I called down to Public Works. I said, we can make this happen. I just want to make sure everybody knows that that was something that came out of the Rec and Parks Advisory Committee. Okay, and we jumped on that. On the page. Okay, so I'd like to hand off to Linda Martin, who presents her dashboard as well as mailboxes. Linda.
Mailboxes. As a reminder, we started this back in last July. So far, we've replaced 17 boxes and 92 pedestals that were ordered. We replaced 81. We ordered 92. We have more mailboxes on the way because we did find a few more that were deteriorated. This is phase 1 of the project. So phase 1 was the ones that needed the most replacement. As you can see here. So I would like to thank the public works staff. That includes Eddie Wells, Nobi Violante, Ed Miller, and John Brown. They're the ones that have been key on this as they're contacting the postmaster and getting all this resolved. CPI violation dashboard. We had 91 new violations for the month, 153 still open. Most of them are in maintenance, 55 in maintenance. We are averaging around 5 new violations per day. So it's going to probably slow down as the season ends. But yes, there are a lot of maintenance issues that we are resolving. We still have 153 still open. Orders, 136 new work orders this month, 124 closed. The majority are still open in drainage, 66. We are using the outsourcing of drainage. So we do have 26 that are over 30 days and 8 over 60 days. And the customer service, 154 emails and phone calls this month. So we just encourage everyone to keep using Info Ocean Pines or dial 410-641. 7717.
Okay, so I have asked Linda today to present the financials to the board and to the association, but just before she does that, I just want to, I didn't put this in, but I want to just give an update on this. So the budget process has started. The team is fully engaged. It's bottoms up. I already talked to the Budget and Finance Committee over the last several months on the major items that you've also heard me and the team talk about here. Some of the things, one thing I want to, instead of it being a one-man band, which we saw in the past, and credit to that individual, and he did a fantastic job. Again, with the succession planning and cross training, Linda's taking the role more on the DMA, the replacement study review, which she's on already. We already have the review and updating, not just this year for this budget that we're going to work on, but for the next 5 years. That's very important, especially with the money that I'm going to be coming forward. We're going to be coming forward to the board on that we're going to need to spend on all those initiatives. I want to be able to show the association, show the board, Budget and Finance. I've been showing where we'll be as far as our replacement reserve balances over the next 5 years. Today, the last several years, and when it was being approved by the board, especially Doug's boards, we said we wanted to be at 22 to 28% in our reserves, and we've certainly matched that, if not gone higher. What I have recommended, and I'm asking to go forward, is to go 28 to 32%. Something we all know that there was legislation last year. I believe that is a range we should be at. That is what I've been talking to Budget and Finance as well as to the board representatives. That's what I'm going to be coming forward with. So when we present all these initiatives, your next assessment, we will also present at least the next 5 years of the projected forecasted reserves for replacement and all the other reserves, but specifically replacement to show you where we are. That ties it all together. That's definitely part of the process. Right, as I mentioned, the firehouse, the irrigation, the racket sports, the vet memorial, all of that will be in there. It'll all be laid out for everybody. This didn't just come now. We didn't just start thinking about this now. We've implemented, we're forward thinking. The team is forward thinking. So this has been planned on over the last several years. Okay, so it's not like we're just sitting there, doing a bottoms up and, oh, there's the number. There's been a lot in that. Okay, so with that, financials, Linda.
Okay, unaudited financial change month of August. We're favorable to the budget, 137,000 for the month, with revenues at 1,373,000 and expenses at 1,536,000. The favorable versus budget. As you can see, we ended the month 137,000 favorable to budget. Favorable 44,000 in beach clubs for food and beverage sales. Public Works favorable to payroll. Golf and operations favorable due to cart fees and merchandise. Admin, GM, public relations favorable to finance department. Police favorable to wages and benefits to 17,000. Clubhouse Grill favorable to food beverage sales. Financial change year to date August. Again, we're favorable to budget by 439,000, with revenues year to date at 12,148,000 and expenses at 5,753,000. Unaudited year to date August, again favorable 439,000, with the majority 110,000. Golf operations for favorable for cart and green fees and merchandise. Police favorable wage and benefits. Beach club favorable food and beverage sales. Admin, finance, GM, public relations favorable to finance, wage benefits and transfer fees. Public relations, general maintenance, CPI, wages and benefits. Beach parking favorable due to parking revenue and wages and benefits. Clubhouse Grill favorable to food and beverage sales. Aquatics favorable membership dues and daily fees. Racket sports favorable to the pickleball revenue. Favorable in recreation and parks due to revenue, and unfavorable in marina and yacht club. Marina was down on net fuel sales, and yacht club was due to the profit bonus accrual. Unaudited reserve for August, the total balance is 9.2 million, and as you can see, we have a drainage, we have, 0.4 million, new capital 0.1 million, birds 1.1, bulkhead 1.3, and general replacement 6.3.
Let me just jump in. So Linda presented, and thank you, Linda, we're favorable 439,000. To put that into perspective, and especially what we've seen, we do forecast, Steve and I forecast. We will have the team work on a bottoms-up forecast for the end of the year. They're doing that now, but Steve and I have looked at that. And I got to say, the last couple of years, we've been pretty much on where we're going to turn out. And that helps me when we do the budget and everything else. With that said, for this year, and look, we are favorable in everything. The weather did hit us this year. We've been lucky. I'm not going to deny it. And we've been lucky with golf throughout the summer. Unfortunately, it caught up with us the last 2 weeks or the last week with the rain, where we did lose probably $40,000 of projected revenue for golf. We didn't lose money in golf, but what we thought. Same thing with Matt. Matt and I talk regularly. He met his numbers, we all did, but just talking about what we believe we could have did, what he could have did in us, we did lose probably between the two. And again, weather's a factor. We do take that into account when we budget, and that's why I can't budget. You know, well, we made all this last year. It could happen. We had small craft advisories, even more than we've had the last several years. It hit the marina, so the marina was hit. Golf, but we're still on track. We're still on budget. Same thing with the yacht club. But just the money I saw that we had projected if we just had a little better weather. But that's exciting because it shows we have a good product. It's priced right, and we're on the right track. Okay. Thank you, Rick.
Linda, thank you. Appreciate it. Monica, Treasurer's Report.
Thanks. As of August 31st of this year, the association has approximately $18.7 million in cash. Cash increased $0.7 million from the same period last year. Cash decreased $50,000 from July of 2023. We have $11.2 million invested in CDARS. We've realized $43,000 in interest income for the month. The remaining $7.5 million is insured sweep accounts, treasury bills, money market, and other operating accounts diversified between 2 local banks.
Thank you, Monica. Appreciate it. We're going to go open the floor for public comments. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. You're going to have to state your name and your address when coming forward. So I'm now open for public comments. What? Yes.
Four things that I am going to give 30 seconds each to, so I'm not up here for a long time. First, I want to congratulate John and his team for his successful season and his successful month. The numbers tell the story. They did a great job. I want to give special recognition to Kathleen Cook, the former director of aquatics, for the great job that she did. It's a difficult job, managing chemical safety, staffing, managing the budget, and having the courage to say no so that all of those things can be juggled properly. Best of luck to her successor, Michelle. I'm sure she'll do a fantastic job as well. I also want to congratulate the new directors on their installment. And I don't know if this is school picture day for you guys, but you all showed up. You respect the responsibilities that you've been given by the voters, and you're here to do the job that goes along with those responsibilities. And you know, you look great. I hope you look great every month and you show up looking like you're ready to work. The third thing I wanted to bring up is I'm sorry I was late this morning. I don't know if this was already addressed, but I want to appeal to the board to reconsider the policy of prohibiting people who participate virtually from speaking in public comments. During the time that I was president, we allowed that. It worked very well. There was no negative impact on the meetings or on the board from that. Stuart ran his campaign a couple of years ago with a promise to represent part-timers and the ability to participate fully virtually, addresses that concern, I think. And, it's certainly hope to see Stuart bringing forth a motion in the next couple of meetings to change that policy. So thank you for that. And then the fourth thing is there are a couple of pieces of unfinished business from the July meeting that I hope don't get lost in the shuffle. The first one is there was a first reading of resolution MO2, the amenity policy. And it was decided at that meeting that that should be reviewed by council and it should be reviewed by the new board for consideration. And then there was a second reading of revisions to resolution B08, the ethics and conduct resolution proposed to be reenacted. The primary concern being confidentiality provisions and conflict of interest provisions. If you read through the text, you can see that it is pretty standard conduct and ethics language that is included in the policies of many nonprofit boards, including the park. So I hope that that doesn't get lost in the shuffle. So thank you for the work that you do and good luck for a successful year as a board.
Thanks, Colette. Just to go regarding what Colette mentioned about MO2 and B08, that is currently under advisement and being reviewed by council currently for that. And then as far as being able for virtual, as far as being able to speak virtually, ask questions, we'll take that under advisement as a board.
Good morning. My name is Jack Levering. I reside at 6 Weeping Willow Court, Ocean Pines. I've been a resident for 20 plus years. I welcome the new board members here. We're happy to have you, and I welcome the board members that have served already. And I voted for you two that just came on board. I want you to know that. I come to you today to speak for those that can't speak for themselves. And who would that be? That would be the dogs at the dog park. And I'm trying to get some requests before you to consider. We're requesting some movement of the fences and the gates. There's some concrete pads there that as you enter into the dog park, and there's a lot of concrete pad that is not being used for any useful purpose. For handicapped folks in a wheelchair, that might be a help to move those gates and those fences a bit. Maybe Public Works could do that and use the existing concrete pad so you can push a wheelchair in there. And we appreciate that. It's a sad sight to see a wheelchair pushed across mulch and chips. Doesn't work too well. So maybe that'd be a consideration. And we thank John and the Public Works Department for the asphalt that they made from the parking lot up to the entry gate to the dog park. We thank for that. A little bit about weather protection. We at the dog park come daily almost, a lot of participation, and we sit on benches that we bought, and we're a little short on the benches, and we get chairs that we pick up alongside the road at yard sales and things of that sort. So if we could have a consideration for some chairs. And for weather protection, the playground has some protection, pickle has some protection, tennis has some protection. We set out in the open, maybe some consideration could be made for a gazebo or something of that nature to for protection. You say, why do you need protection? Well, on a misty day like today, there were 12 or 13 people there sitting on the benches and the chairs, and mist was falling down, and that's fine. The dogs were playing, having a good time. Dogs don't care if it rains or it's misty. They play and they get their exercise. So maybe some consideration for that. We've been talking about some agility equipment, maybe a few articles in there that dogs could use for some training, and the people that bring their dogs there can run them through the agility course. John and the Parks and Recreation have started on that now, and I think there's going to be some progress, we hope, on installation. So, also, just as I mentioned, the fire hydrants in there, they were cute and they were put in there years ago when the dogs, the dog park started. Fire hydrants, are a purpose for dogs. But they're a bit of a liability and a danger because the dogs playing and romping around, they have a lot of projections and sharp objects there. And some of the dogs have run into it and injured themselves on the apparatus there at the fire hydrant. So some maybe, I think Parks and Rec was going to remove those, and they just haven't gotten to it. They've had a lot of work. I know that. So I thank you for your consideration. And those that can't speak for themselves, I come before you to help them out. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Sue. Good.
Mr. Livering? I'm at the dog park a lot. Where are you looking that you want a concrete pad at? I'm not clear.
Well, as I enter the dog park, there's two long strips of concrete.
Yeah.
And there's the gates are on each side, and all that concrete going up isn't being used. If the gates could be relocated, and we have a little plan,
Okay, I got you.
we can use that concrete pad on each side of the dog park.
Got that. Yeah, John's gonna take a look at that piece as far as that, and also accessible for wheelchairs.
Yeah, we're working on it.
And maybe
the
do it.
benches, and I have an idea on the gazebo we'll talk to you about.
There you go.
Okay, and the asphalt pad's a big help,
Right, we did that last time we came.
and we thank you for that.
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
the fire things we have it on the list. I'll make sure they do that when we go down.
Great. Thanks. It's in the pipeline. And thank you for your consideration.
Great,
Thank
thank you. Other public comments?
You snooze, you lose.
Good morning.
Good morning, I'm Paul Rogers. Live in the Sunrise Court in the Point. And appreciate having this opportunity to talk to you and share a concern with you. During almost a year, we've had 4 horrific pedestrian accidents of our Ocean Pines neighbors, 4 of them altogether. And there may have been more, but those are 4 have been in the newspaper. I have concerns for a couple of reasons. One is these are our community responsibility. These could have been prevented. They could have been prevented. They're also a concern for you as directors. It's in the bylaws that you're responsible for our overall safety as well as our welfare too. So it's a concern to you. I have a concern as well as each of these 4 cases could be considered an index case, which means there's probably 4 or 5 other individuals who could be at high risk for the same horrific fate that happened to the individuals. I don't know if you've had discussion about this at the board level or not. My humble suggestion is that you may want to think about a safe pedestrian work group or study group to get a little bit more data, to come back to you, present some information of things that maybe we could do to help prevent these horrific, terrible pedestrian accidents to our neighbors here in Ocean Pines. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Dutch, you're up.
Olaf Olsen, 12 floor guy. The first thing what I want to say, I want to welcome 3 new members. 2 people I know very well is Mr. Bradley and the man in the right side. When I'm seeing him Sunday in the church, I call him Lower Kunstler. But anyway, I want to thank you. Let me go back a step. I was in the hospital when you all had the last meeting. I want to thank the old members for that last year. It was an outstanding year for Ocean Pine with the help from for general manager. I hope, and I'm for sure we're going to have this year a good year. So, and I'm a person, I come always hell, but I'm not always in hell. I like the way you all showed up today, very well dressed. that make a good impression to the people in Ocean Pine. You know, years ago, people came with a sweatshirt on and everything, but you all present you very well. And I hope that we have a good year like last year. The 2 years before, Don, when he was president, was a disaster for Ocean Pine. We had very bad leadership, and I hope that we're gonna have good leadership and good that you people work together so that we can go ahead in Ocean Pine. We know it's gonna be expensive. You know, everything goes up. We have to remember that. But I like to see that you 7 people work like one man. Thank you.
Thanks, Dutch.
Thanks, Dutch.
Probably won't be dressed as well as we are today.
Any other public comments? We'll go ahead and close the floor for public comments. Next up, capital request.
Okay, apparently the slide didn't make it, so let me read it off, but I know everything was in the package. So capital request, clubhouse bridge wing walls replacement. Requesting authorization to go forward with staff recommendation of $149,500 for replacement of wing walls and piles. This has been in the budget. We just couldn't get a contractor. We have one now.
Okay. Motion approved for the 149,500 for the bridge wing walls.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
John, I'm just, maybe I'm not reading this right. The request is to address the bridge that you come across coming in here.
Correct. So if you go on the 10th fairway and you look,
Yeah.
it's all the walls and everything below the bridge that you can see from there. You can't see it from the road. It's below.
It's on the water side. Okay.
Exactly.
On the, I think it's the 3rd page of the submission, there's this entry about the north entrance bridge.
Hold on a second. Okay.
That's not part, I just want to make sure I understand this. That's not part of this request, correct?
That's a reserve report.
Correct. That's not part of
Yes,
it.
that's the general reserve report for the
Okay.
bridge.
Yeah, it just happened to be a schedule that had that other stuff, but you're right. If that's not part of
That's
it.
fine. I just want to make sure I was clear. Thank you.
So a motion approved.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
7-0. CPI violations, we have none. Unfinished business, we have none. We don't have any new business at this time. As far as for appointments, I asked the director, if do we want to go one by one, or we can just go ahead and approve all of them as I go through them? Which I would save more
I
time.
would move to include them all on bulk.
All of them.
Okay, so what we have for appointments, we have Michael Alpaw for the first term for Marine Activities. We have Tim Connolly, first term Marine Activities. We have Karen Dieter for third term for Environmental and Natural Assets. We have Colette Horn for the first term for Budget and Finance. We have Kenneth Carr for the first term for Marine Activities. We have Donna McElroy for the third term for Marine Activities. We have Doug Parks for the first term for Budget Finance. We have Christine Slattery for first term for Racket Sports. We have Karen Steinberger, first term for Marine Activities. And we have Kathy Toth, first term for Recreation and Parks. Motion to approve all?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Approve all?
Aye.
Great. I conduct, so I have a motion for adjournment. I'll second that. We're done.
Thanks
for showing up.
approved.
Thanks.
All approved.